Most adults think they lose power because they got weaker. Maybe not. You might have just learned how to waste it. If your jumps feel a little heavy, your explosiveness disappeared, or you're just feeling a little slow, you probably have a power leak. But that is why we're here today. We are going to fix them. If you're new here, I am Coach Josh. This is episode 2 of our longevity power series, where if you do not feel explosive anymore and you're being robbed of some of that explosiveness, we're here to fix that for you and provide you some solutions, no matter the age. Now, power doesn't typically just disappear. It tends to get blocked, usually from things like mobility or strength of some of your stabilizing muscles. Now, there's 3 leaks we're going to look at today that are typical in most adults: stiff ankles, rib and pelvis alignment and stability, and poor landing mechanics. Fix these 3 and your power is going to come back fast. Your ankles are your springs. When they get stiff, which happens to almost every adult, you lose elasticity, bounce, and the ability to produce force quickly. When your ankles stop working, everything above them works harder. Your knees, hips, and even your back try to do the job. Start with some tibialis rock backs. These are a necessity for an explosive takeoff. Starters for dosing, we're looking for 2 to 3 sets and typically higher reps, big endurance muscle there. Start with 10 reps, build up to 15, 20, even 25 reps. Don't be afraid to add sets. And we can do these pretty often throughout the week as long as we're not super sore. Now, mobilize the ankle. We want to drive the knee forward into the wall without lifting that heel up. This is going to help mobilize our ankle dorsiflexion and help us when we are loading our jumps. Key with these is to make sure you continually back that foot up. If the knee is getting to the wall, make sure you scoot your foot back. Heel doesn't rise, drive that knee forward. We're looking for that big range of motion. 2 to 3 sets again of high reps. Make sure we're feeling that nice stretch. Our final drill being those elastic pogos. We want to be nice and soft in the knees, really quiet landings. Let those ankles do the work. Now, if these feel impossible for you, congratulations, we found a leak. Easy fixes, get on some of those accessory exercises. And then leak number 2 is posture. No, we're not talking about sit at the dinner table posture, right? Mom's not yelling at us. We're talking about posture from our ribs down into our pelvis and making sure we're stacked up and not leaking through that midsection. Now, with posture, the general 3 areas we're looking at is a general overextension position, right? As we're trying to reach, we're overextending our body. But it really comes from 2 areas, and that is going to be rib flare, which again is almost getting those ribs to pop up where we want to pull them down like we're doing a crunch. And then obviously we have our pelvic tilt, which would be anterior pelvic tilt, trying to get ourselves into that posterior pelvic tilt, everything stacked up. When you jump or land with these leaks, the power actually never makes it into the ground. If we go back to physics, ground reaction forces, that ground never shoots the power back into your body to propel you forward. The good news is our first check here is super simple. We're going to put a hand on our lower ribs. We're going to put a hand on our hip. All we're going to do is take a big deep exhale, and we're going to focus on bringing those ribs down, and we're going to focus on bringing that pelvis back into that posterior tilt. So now I'm stacked up. Most of you probably haven't felt this position in years. Now let's turn that into some dynamic movement. Let's do our snap down, right? If we snap down, we need to make sure that we are engaging that core and those hips. A lot of you would hinge and we would already be in that arched position through our low back, right? I'm in anterior pelvic tilt. We need to get ourselves stacked into that position, arms up, rip down, hinge properly, and that'll put us in the right position. This connects our upper body, lower body, and then the core all into one system. So again, if you're struggling to hold that ribs engaged, posterior pelvic tilt, and then into the snap down dynamic movement, we found another leak. Go slow, focus on getting into that proper position, work on your hinging pattern first, and then we can bring some dynamic speed to it. And our third leak is our landings. If the body doesn't let you absorb force, it's never going to let you produce force. So let's work on that absorption. Something as simple as this, or even just this, is what's going to cause a lot of injuries and also cause a lot of those power leaks. First drill for our fix is going to be a low hop to stick. You're going to start low. We're going to take a little hop, stick. We want stiff ankles, knees tracking, core nice and engaged so we're stacked up through that midsection. Step 2 is our depth drops. No, you do not need to use a box this high. If you're learning, start 6 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches, start small, but we're gonna step off, work on that stick, make sure our knees are tracking, same stiff ankles, making sure that core is tight, ribs are down, hips are back, locking in all of that posture we just discussed. And now our third fix is going to build them all together a little bit. We're not gonna go off a high box, but we're gonna build some continuation in our jumps through some single response work. So if you have small hurdles, you can use those too, but starting in our position, our athletic position, we just take our small hop, like step 1, we do our 2-second pause, everything's checked, another jump, stick that landing. Again, if you wanna make this more aggressive, you would just make the jumps slightly higher, more like that depth jump, get that 2-second landing, work your way into, 5 to 10 total jumps and resetting. If you get advanced, this is where you would bring around some single leg work as well. And obviously, once you're able to put all 3 leaks together, you're looking to be as explosive as possible, rebuild that athleticism, and take your body 10 years into the past. So that is it for episode 2. In episode 3, we're gonna dive into elasticity, the spring system that adults lose first. Because here's the secret. Muscles don't make you explosive, tendons do. So our next episode is all about how to make those tendons feel young again. And please hit like, help more people find the series and find the channel. And drop your biggest power leak into the comments. I read every one and I try to respond to all comments as well. And as always, never settle with yesterday. Thank you.